Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Maki Arai.
And I'm Makiko Tsuda.
Every week we bring you the freshest information out of Japan right here from a studio in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
And these are our topics for today. As always, we have some interesting stories to share with you, so make sure you stay with us. So let's get started. First up is Executive Insight. So Tsuda-san, what's our topic today?
Yes, today we'll be joined by a special guest, Oki Matsumoto, who's the CEO of Monex Group, which runs an online securities brokerage.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, now I'd like to get a better picture of your entire organization. I understand you have offices in 12 locations around the world, including Japan, US, and Hong Kong. So would you tell us more in detail?
Well, we started as a Japanese company in Tokyo, but we always have a kind of aspiration to go global. That means for us to provide the global products and services to our clients, because our investors in Japan, they have a very broad interest for the global markets. And also we wanted to get out of Japan to penetrate into non-Japan markets as well. So not only product and service being global, but also we'd like to make our client base global. So we started acquiring non-Japan companies to start with Hong Kong. And then about 2.5 years ago, we made a big acquisition in the States. So we now have 12 offices in the world.
Now you mentioned you acquired a company in Hong Kong, it's Boom Securities namely. And what was the thinking behind this?
We started thinking about going global. The United States is a little bit too far away and too big. And it's a very competitive market. So we wanted to gain some expertise dealing with the non-Japan companies. And also, as we all know, China becoming very large, and it's something, the market that we can't miss. So we wanted to start creating some sort of milestones near China as well. So it was about maybe 4 years ago, we made the acquisition of Boom Securities in Hong Kong. That is, by the way, the oldest, the first online broker in Asia. It was made, I believe, 20 years ago sometime.
And has that actually helped you get a foothold in the Chinese market?
Well, it's not easy. It takes time. But recently, about half a year ago, there's a CEPA 10, China Economic Partnership Agreement between Beijing government and Hong Kong. CEPA 10 was signed. So that is, that is going to be, has to be enacted later in detail. But it basically says that going forward, Hong Kong broker will become able to create a full license joint venture, full license brokerage joint venture inside mainland China, whereby the Hong Kong broker can own up to 51% of that joint venture. So that is the huge deregulation, because up until today, foreign company can have only up to 1/3 of the Chinese broker. And even if any one share foreigner owns the stake inside a mainland Chinese broker, then that broker has to be out of the domestic retail business for 5 years. So it's basically they are blocking the foreigner. But this through this CEPA 10, we can have we can penetrate into the Chinese market. So that is a strategically very important step.
Another major acquisition is TradeStation in the U.S. 8 a.m. In one section of an office before business hours, a meeting of computer engineers is taking place. TradeStation is unique in the industry for developing a proprietary trading system. Through the acquisition, Monex gained not only a respected brand, but also experts in building up a trading system.
What specifically interests you about this company?
Okay, TradeStation is it's a serious online brokerage company. It was listed on Nasdaq when we acquired them, and that company has been rated as U.S. #1 online broker by Barron's, that the weekly magazine, many times. It's a very serious company. And the interesting thing is that that company is developing systems internally. Okay, so even most of Japanese brokers, they don't develop systems, trading systems internally. They use the system vendors. Even in the States, most of the large online brokers are using, system vendor created systems. But TradeStation owns their own system. And for us to, at the end of the day, the system, IT system, is really the core of our business, online trading business. So for us to differentiate our services, at the end of the day, we really need to have our own proprietary technology. Otherwise, we can't really differentiate.
Can you give us an example of what gives you an advantage by being able to create a system hands-on?
Well, there are many. For example, if you are using the same system as others, you tend to think the way to differentiate yourself as by cutting commission. Okay, so that is a very bad spiral, right? We don't want to do that. We should create our own value-added service that has to be created by ourselves. That's number one. And number two, if we create our systems by our own, then we're going to own our own intellectual property. So we are trying to create a global trading system whereby clients can trade, all markets, stocks and mutual fund and FX and everything. So basically, clients can access to global capital markets. Once we create that by our own intellectual property, then we can offer this service to anyone in the globe. We can't really, try to acquire clients in, say, Latin America or Middle East or Europe. It's too broad. But we can deal with the B2B partner, like a broker or bank in those areas, and offer them our system, and they cultivate their own clients, and we provide the service under their brand. So by doing it, we can capture the global clients as well.
I'm just a bit curious though, if I was a client, what's so good about the system? I mean, it's been ranked highly in the industry, but what's so good for the average client or consumer? What gives you an edge?
Well, for example, in Japan, you may want to trade U.S. companies' stocks. Okay, these days, if you go to the phone shop, you don't pick the phone only from the Japanese brand. There's iPhones and Apples and Samsung, the global brands, right? And samely, you should be interested in global companies when you trade stocks. Okay, so, but in Japan, if you go to any Japanese brokers other than Monex, for example, U.S. shares, the universe of U.S. listed shares you can trade is quite limited. But through Monex, because we have TradeStation in the States as a group company, basically our clients can trade all listed companies in the States. So that is really expanding the investment opportunities for you or for our clients.
And I heard that increased price competition has impacted the profitability of online securities firms. So what are some of the challenges you see in expanding your business globally?
Well, I don't see any difficult challenges. When you think about phones, for example, okay, just like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, the phone you can use in Japan, you cannot use in Asia, you cannot use in the States. Okay, but today, you can use same phone in the world, right? Similar thing is happening in capital markets too. The protocols and regulations and many things are getting more standardized so that, it is much more and more easier for us to create a global service. And of course, there is, more simple, humane, or cultural challenges to create a global company. But I tend to enjoy those kind of things. It's more fun than pain, I just like it.
Oki Matsumoto is regarded as someone who can explain the Japanese market in a straightforward way. He is widely sought out for his insight.
What resource we have in Japan is people. If people try to act tomorrow than today, compared to that state, to the new state whereby people try to act today than tomorrow, it's huge change of productivity, I believe. So that is I believe, coming up next year. And I think this is the most important part of the Abenomics. Yeah, and Abe is actually a good name. Abe, ABE stands for like asset bubble economy, and it's quite a good name.
So finally, I'd like to ask you about your outlook for the Japanese market in 2014.
I'm super bullish. The Japan has been kind of limiting the monetary, the money flow for about a quarter century, up until last year. And the government, the nation changed the policy. Now they're printing money. They are doubling up the monetary base. Okay? If the money goes double, then the real estate price or stock price, those price needs to go up. Okay? So that is happening right now. With the U.S. start tapering the quantitative easing, and so that probably dollar will become stronger and yen will be weaker. And also in March, there will be the announcement of the nationwide appraisal price of the land. And that probably we're going to see nationwide average plus 3% or 5%, whatever. And that is going to have a huge impact on the mindset, I believe. The stock market is only like $5 trillion market, Japan. But the real estate market is like a $30 trillion market. It's huge market. Okay? And also stocks are held by just a certain type of people or certain category of people. Mm-hmm. But the real estate is held by just truly nationwide people. And if the price of the land, people see that is now not going down but going up, then we will, the mindset-wise, we will be completely out of the deflation mode into inflation mode. So that will have a very good impact on the consumptions and investment and the capex, as well as, of course, stock market and the real estate market, I think.
And that's going to be good for your business as well. I mean, you have been doing very well during the April to September period in 2013. Your net profit increased more than fivefold. And if you're super bullish about 2014, what's going to happen in that sense?
We will just keep growing. But I have to say, you don't drink thinking about getting hungover, right? You may get hungover, in the future, but when you drink, you should enjoy and drink, right? And I believe we should enjoy, we should appreciate, take advantage of what's happening in this country, which is, quantitative easing and the deflation into inflation, and the economy and the asset prices will go up.
Isn't there anything at all to just keep an eye on, just in case, though? Anything that could trigger a greater worry for you?
Well, I don't have to think about those risks because I just need to observe what's happening in the market. Because the market is kind of, mirror of all things happening behind, right? So if the market start going down, then probably something happening which is not really working. So, we should just, get out of the market. You don't need to think about what is a risk or what you should worry about. You just need to observe the market price.
The market will be the indicator, even if something bad happens.
Right.
I see.
It's very easy.
I see.
I'm born to be very optimistic.
Aren't you? I think so too.
Well, today we have been joined by the CEO of Monex Group, Mr. Aoki Matsumoto. It was very enjoyable and enlightening talking to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And after the break, we bring you an episode from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite.
ยังจำได้หรือเปล่านะ เรื่องต่างๆที่เกิดขึ้นตอนวาดรูปนี้ แต่ถ้ารถยนต์ในฝันของฉันมีจริง ฉันคงจะมีความสุขมากเลย
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do this? We make things like this possible through the power of chemistry. We're the Kaiteki Company, Mitsubishi Chemical Holdings.
SG Holdings began as a delivery company in Kyoto in 1957. We have grown to provide a wide variety of key business services, including logistical support, all across Japan. Reliability and achievement have defined and distinguished us on the Japanese business scene. With heartfelt bonds that connect us to each and every one of our customers. The passage of time has seen our sphere of operations expand from Japan into Asia and across the globe. We will continue to strive to link up people while supporting businesses worldwide. We will also create new value that contributes to a brighter and more expansive future. We make it our mission to connect people and companies around the world. SG Holdings.
Sou uma pessoa comum. Eu gosto de apreciar todos os momentos do meu dia. Quanto isso pode me motivar? Como eu posso me manter focada? Tudo ao meu redor, incluindo os momentos do meu dia a dia, é o que eu preciso para me concentrar para a minha luta de 90 minutos. Quero dar esperança às pessoas. A better life, a better world.
Panasonic.
Sasuke, a new type of sports entertainment program conquering the world.
It's about human achievement and people's passions, and I think that relates to almost everybody.
From Japan to the world, Ninja Warrior, Tokyo Broadcasting System.
You're watching Channel Japan. Up next, we bring you an episode from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite.
Now, Raisa, have you heard of the term dual generation?
No, I don't think I'm familiar with it.
Well, in Japan, married couples with children and who both work are being referred to as a part of the dual generation.
So since both you and your husband are working and raising a child, you're part of the dual generation.
Yes, that's about the case.
Well, the concept of raising children appears to be changing now, and especially since more men are starting to take an active role.
Yes, you're right. I have some data that I'd like to show you. According to a recent survey of parents, 80% say they want to take work leave after the birth of children. And among women, that percentage was about 90%, while among men, it was about 60 or more than 60%.
Over 60%. That's more than what I would imagine.
The growth of dual income families with greater spending power is seen as a new growth market by some businesses. So take a look.
Last November, a certain event took place. Gathered was a large group of mothers with their children. Throughout the hall, they were seen exchanging name cards.
I think this kind of network of working mothers is important because it really widens your perspective. We all have different jobs and work styles, but it's very stimulating to hear about the experiences of others.
These women are all working mothers. The event was held to mark the launch of a new website aimed at working mothers and fathers.
There's a new dual generation of parents who both work and care for their children. We want to let society know about the efforts being made by this group of people.
Nikkei Dual was launched last November. Dual refers to people who divide their time equally at work and at home. This website provides information to such working parents. Businesses also participated in the event, and food samples were even provided by a delivery service for working mothers. Among them was...
Did you know we sell vegetables and other produce? I know you sell tofu, eggs. Where do you buy your vegetables?
Surveying the mothers is Hitomi Suzuki from convenience store operator Lawson. She is in charge of developing new products for the dual generation.
This is our pre-cut vegetable series that we relaunched.
The company is currently putting a big focus on pre-cut vegetables. To tailor the products for working mothers, the package was recently redesigned.
A big issue for parents is shortening the time needed to prepare dinner as much as possible. These vegetables can be eaten without being washed, so we're promoting them as a time-saving product.
The company's aim in offering such products is to get mothers to stop by their shops on the way home from work. Households in which both parents work have been on the rise. They now account for 60% of all working households. The number is expected to continue rising as social infrastructure, such as childcare facilities, improve, allowing more women to enter the workforce. A growing number of businesses are also targeting the dual generation.
Hello, I'm Ayako Saito from Kajitaku.
This is the home of Ms. Yamashita, a color coordination specialist. With work becoming busy, she decided to hire a housekeeping service.
How do you usually clean the house? I have to vacuum the floors, but don't have the time.
First, they go to
this space. There's always food and hair stuck here. It's best that you lift up the ends and vacuum.
Ms. Saito asks Ms. Yamashita about her specific requests, such as where to clean and how she would like it done. Ms. Saito's job is to draw up an original cleaning program based on the customer's requirements.
We'll clean the toilets, the stairs and bedroom. The kitchen will do only when asked. I'd like you to concentrate on the first floor kitchen and bathroom. I understand.
This is a service started by Kajitaku in December. For example, when cleaning the bedroom, they check with the customer whether objects should be moved or if the bed sheets need to be changed. By listing each task in detail, they calculate the exact cleaning time.
By fully understanding what the customer wants first, we don't have to waste the customer's time. Another big advantage is to communicate the extent of our services.
The customer's requests are listed on a planning sheet. This will be turned into an instruction form for the actual cleaning staff, complete with specific tasks and precautions. By clarifying the requirements of customers, they say work efficiency has improved and allowed them to keep prices low. Ms. Yamashita has just returned home with her child. The cleaning is done. So what does she think?
Wow, there used to be a coat of dust up here. The room feels completely different from when I left.
The time she would have spent cleaning the house was instead spent with her children. The housing industry is also targeting the dual generation. This is one example.
Right now, we're promoting rooms connected to the entrance. One area is for shoes and the other for baby strollers.
An entrance area with an adjacent storage room. Baby strollers can be rolled in without having to fold them or worrying about dirt or sand on the wheels. What's more, in the living room,
The biggest problem may actually be children's toys strewn all over the living room floor. We're promoting this as a storeroom for all those things.
with children, the living room can often become messy. They say a storage room will help save time cleaning up. It's also said that many couples prefer living with their parents, who can help care for their children. The Isodas have been thinking about moving into a two-family house after the birth of their child in April.
I want to ask, or rather I'm hoping to get my father to take my child to the nursery when I'm working. I thought it would be good to live together again.
In building a two-family home, an important factor is the lifestyles of the families. So, starting last summer, Sekisui House began using a mobile device to get a more detailed picture of what customers want, such as if they prefer separate or shared kitchens and bathrooms.
So first, what about meals? I prefer to have dinner together.
By answering the questions, the device calculates the percentage of shared spaces. For Mr. Isoda, it was 60%.
For example, a customer may enjoy talking to her husband's mother. The aim is to get families to realize themselves what they require.
By addressing the needs and worries of the dual generation in moving into a two-family home, the company hopes to attract more customers. Mothers and fathers who both work, who both take care of the home, and who are both potentially big spenders. Businesses are beginning to cater to this new class of consumers.
Well, Utsuda-san, I understand our next topic is about markets for second-hand goods.
Yes, that's right. I have a graph over here that shows where people go to buy second-hand goods, excluding cars, that is, and about half go to second-hand goods stores, and interestingly, over 48% visit internet auction sites and flea markets.
Well, even if I was one of the users, I'm actually surprised by how active the trade in used goods is outside of traditional shops.
Yes, and I have a breakdown of the kinds of things being bought and sold. And it shows that the biggest is clothes, and then followed by personal computers, peripheral devices, and also books.
Yeah. Well, I see that the trade in fashion-related items is quite active as well.
It is. And another graph here shows the market size of reused apparel. And consumers are increasingly looking to get their hands on high-quality clothes at reasonable prices, and are quite open compared to before to the idea of buying used items. And now, there's even a feeling that used clothing is fashionable.
Well, as the second-hand market continues to expand, businesses that connect individual sellers to buyers over smartphones are beginning to take off. So, have a look.
Shibuya, Tokyo. This is the home of Yu Miyaji. She says she's hooked on a certain shopping application.
I use an application called Furima Apuri.
Furima Apuri is short for flea market application. This particular service is limited to women and focuses on fashion. They say over 3 million items are on offer. On this day too, Ms. Miyaji finds something she likes and puts in an order.
Leopard prints are in style this winter, and I don't have a black coat either.
10 minutes later, she gets a reply from the seller. She says products usually arrive several days after the payment is made. Unlike a regular auction website, sellers set the prices and deal directly with buyers. The application was developed by this company. Launched in July 2012, it has been downloaded over 1 million times.
We found that many women didn't have computers at home or had trouble using major auction sites. This really took off with the spread of smartphones.
Putting a product up for sale takes just 3 minutes and is free. The seller can set the price freely, with the company taking a 10% commission once a sale is made. To prevent disputes between sellers and buyers, the company acts as the middleman, transferring payment for products.
Our aim is for over $95 million in sales in 2014.
Such consumer-to-consumer applications have increased sharply in the past several months. Currently, 10 companies offer similar services. This is another. They launched an application called Prima, focusing on children. The primary users are mothers in their 20s and 30s with children up to 3 years old who quickly outgrow clothes and toys. The operator of this application says new users quadrupled in the past 3 months. So how have they been able to attract so many users? On this day, Shohei Yoneda visits a company that runs an online community for mothers. Mr. Yoneda partnered with them last November to set up an actual flea market and captured new users for the application.
About 200 people came and we told those 200 people about Prima.
Once people understand that the application enables communication, they're more willing to try it out and to recommend it to friends who also have children.
For those who use the application, the company is offering a 20% discount on their next purchase. They hope to get direct feedback from users to further develop the system and get ideas for future events.
Prima is not only a tool for shopping, but allows people to enjoy communicating with others. While it may not necessarily be about shopping, I hope to create a place where mothers can exchange ideas.
In the future, the company plans to provide information about events and publish feature articles each season. The ultimate goal is to get people to log on every day. They are targeting 300,000 new users by year-end and believe the consumption tax hike will provide a big boost.
Transactions between individuals won't be subject to the consumption tax, so if the tax goes up from 5 to 10%, then I think more people will shop on our site.
C2C transactions are expanding, especially among young women. In the future, such marketplaces may become even more widespread. Mitsui & Company.
Hey, look at this. They're building a huge steel plant with Kobelco technology.
Kobelco? Never heard of it.
It's Japanese. They can make iron with incredible speed. What once took 8 hours can be done in just 10 minutes.
Wow, the Japanese are incredible. The country of karate.
Ha! 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 Karate has nothing to do with it.
True.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
Trading card games transcend generations as well as borders. Trading card games will unite the world. However, the possibilities do not simply end there. Trading card games combine the different forms of entertainment, and fun will link the world as one. Bushiroad.
Together, let's generate happiness. Let's raise the world to new heights. Let's carry our dreams further. At the heart of society, Toshiba Technology. For a growing future, Toshiba. Together, let's create better healthcare. Let's develop a sustainable environment. Let's give children a promising tomorrow. At the heart of society, Toshiba Technology. For a growing future, Toshiba.
Asia, the engine of the global economy. Japan, a regional powerhouse. And now, direct from Japan, economic news with a global impact in Chinese, delivered by Nikkei. Read the future, lead the economy. Nikkei, Japan's leading media for business.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we bring you an episode from Industrial Heritage.
So today we head north to Hokkaido. This is a map showing where Hokkaido is. It's on the northern part of Japan.
I know that Niseko is famous for its powder snow too.
It is. It's quite nice in the winter. But this time we find out the history of Hokkaido. So take a look.
Hokkaido, northern Japan, home to a quarter of the country's farmland. The landscape is vast. The food self-sufficiency rate here is 200%, far exceeding the nationwide average of 39% and the highest among all regions. It has been considered the food storehouse of Japan and an agricultural leader for decades. The history dates back 140 years. In 1868, fighting broke out between forces of the new government, led primarily by the Choshu and Satsuma clans, and those still loyal to the Tokugawa shogunate. Before launching an attack on Edo Castle, Takamori Saigo, the commander of the government army, met with his counterpart Kaishu Katsu to convince him to withdraw voluntarily. With that, the castle was surrendered without bloodshed. The 264 years of the Edo shogunate came to an end, ushering in the new Meiji government. Amid the dramatic changes underway, development was being carried out at a feverish pace in Hokkaido, or Ezo as it was called at the time. The reason was the threat from Russia after it invaded Karafuto at the northernmost tip. The new government wanted to open up the frontier land of Hokkaido to enhance national strength. What's more, the untouched fertile land was seen as the treasure house of the Northern Gate, which dovetailed with the government's other aim to develop the agricultural industry. Adopting the latest technology from the United States, Hokkaido began taking its first steps toward becoming an agricultural powerhouse.
It's such a simple machine, but does so much.
This time in Industrial Heritage, we follow the trail of Hokkaido's early pioneers and explore how agriculture developed on this vast hinterland. Sapporo, the capital of Hokkaido, is home to 1.8 million people. One school here is said to have written the first chapter of Hokkaido's history. The Sapporo Agricultural College, founded in 1876 and now called Hokkaido University. How did students learn about agriculture over 130 years ago?
Hello, Mr. Takai.
Thank you for coming. It's very quiet and the landscape is beautiful, isn't it?
I'm amazed at how beautiful it is here. The air is so fresh.
Showing us around is a former professor at Hokkaido University, Munehiro Takai.
There really aren't any power lines or utility poles. Feels like it's been left untouched.
Mr. Takai has been studying grass growing and other agricultural methods since his college days and has overseen practical training of students as a professor.
This is farm number 2 of the Sapporo Agricultural College, which is designated a national cultural asset.
At farm number 2, the original schoolhouse used when the college was founded has been carefully preserved. This is the feed storeroom for grains fed to the animals. The elevated structure prevents the grains from humidity and hungry animals. The silo next to the cowshed is made of stone and was the biggest of its kind at the time. All of the facilities here were considered cutting edge for Japanese people in the late 1800s.
There was a battle between Takamori Saigo in Kagoshima in southwestern Japan and the new government right at the time. But the Meiji government ordered that Hokkaido's development be hurried. And that's why the school was built.
In 1869, the government set up the Hokkaido Development Commission. It was overseen by Kiyotaka Kuroda, originally from Satsuma in southern Japan. In 1868, Kuroda had led the new government army in the final battle against the loyalists of the former Tokugawa shogunate. Ultimately victorious, he helped usher in the Meiji era. That achievement led to Kuroda's appointment as the Hokkaido Development Commissioner at the young age of 30. To carry out the massive mission given to him, Kuroda invited specialists from the United States. Horace Capron, a key advisor, recommended that they adopt American farming and animal husbandry methods. Capron first went about surveying the land of Hokkaido. He concluded that the harsh winters made it difficult to grow rice like the main island of Japan, and proposed techniques better suited to the region. A school was set up to nurture farmers. That became the Sapporo Agricultural College. Invited to become the first president was William Smith Clark, who was the president of the Massachusetts Agricultural College at the time. Farm number 2 was constructed with Clark's idea of prioritizing practical training.
Have a look inside.
ドアもこの斜めになっていて、おしゃれです。
大きいんですよ。
わー。
The farm equipment left here was mostly imported from the U.S. during the late 1800s. Students used these types of tools to learn the American style of large-scale farming. There were some unique machines.
This is to plough the ground.
So this is the ploughing machine?
Yes. If you look at this picture, you'll see how it works. Ropes are tied there and pulled by 2 horses. The metal parts dig into the ground and plough the farm.
It's such a simple machine, but does so much.
The biggest characteristic is that most of the work is done by horses, and it ploughs the farm, breaks up the earth, and also reaps wheat. In Japan until then, everything had to be done with sickles and hoes. So when this appeared, it was revolutionary.
Many young students came to the Sapporo Agricultural College to learn about these new technologies. Among the graduates were many who later became key figures in Japan, including Kanzo Uchimura, a Christian evangelist, and Inazo Nitobe, an Undersecretary General of the League of Nations. In central Sapporo, the home of one person who contributed significantly to the development effort remains.
For someone who played a key role in developing Hokkaido, he lived in quite a modest home.
The
ceiling seems high once inside. You can't tell from the outside. So what does this room look like? Oh. It's completely different.
Who lived here? That person was Takeshiro Nagayama, an official from Satsuma and a development commissioner. Nagayama submitted a certain request to Kiyotaka Kuroda, who at the time was desperately searching for a way to catch up with the great Western powers and Russia. He wanted to put together a unit made up of soldiers from areas under the Development Commission that could take action when needed. His idea was to amass former samurai who could work in agriculture from day to day and go into battle when the time came. This was the beginning of a farmer-soldier system. The idea was originally proposed by Takamori Saigo, who was Nagayama's senior and hailed from the same Satsuma region. That shared bond steeled Nagayama's resolve to open up the northern hinterland. In the beginning, the unit was comprised of samurai from northeastern Japan who had fought on the side of the Tokugawa during the Boshin War. There was a reason for soliciting former enemies. The idea was to extend a hand to those who had lost their livelihoods with the fall of the Tokugawa, while at the same time bolstering the defense of the north. With Sapporo as the starting point, the development work began in earnest. Kotoni in the suburbs of Sapporo. This is where Takeshiro Nagayama built the first village of farmer soldiers. Some of their homes have been preserved. The people who moved to Hokkaido as farmer soldiers were provided with a home such as this, farming equipment, and land that needed to be cleared. It's said that each household received over 16,000 square meters of land. But with the land being primeval forests, every day was a battle against nature. One immigrant left a record of his life here.
Clearing land is backbreaking. There are roots of trees and rocks. We were provided hoes, but the blades quickly become worn. Nothing is of any use. Waking up in the morning, the edges of our mattresses are frozen. When there's a blizzard, our mattresses are covered in a coat of white snow. Imagining what they were going through, it's simply amazing.
Farmer soldiers were stationed in 37 locations. The 40,000 people who arrived from the main island of Japan built the foundations of Hokkaido. Next, we visited the Hokkaido Agricultural Research Center. This is actually the predecessor of the test farm at the Sapporo Agricultural College. We're shown some potatoes. There are various types, including purple and red ones.
Are these all potatoes?
Yes, they're all varieties we grow here. Let me cut one open.
Wow, they're like fruits.
They're colored all the way through. These were developed by narrowing in on the functionality of potatoes.
What do you mean by functionality?
The purple and yellow potatoes contain anthocyanin and carotenoids.
Are they things not found in regular potatoes?
Yes, they're said to slow down the aging process in humans.
So how do potatoes packed with anti-aging elements taste?
They're just like fruits. Wow. But the taste is definitely potato. Because of the color, I thought it would taste more like sweet potato. It's sweet though, compared to a regular potato.
Thank you.
At this facility, various produce are being enhanced with a focus on functionality. This onion has 25% more quercetin than the typical variety. This buckwheat contains 5 to 10 times more rutin than normal.
Even if it's the same thing, I'd certainly choose the one that's safer and more nutritious. I think people nowadays want to know that what they put in their mouth is safe.
Boys, be ambitious. These are the words said to have been spoken by William Smith Clark as he bid farewell to his students at the Sapporo Agricultural College. The dream of planting the seeds of agriculture in the vast hinterland is being carried on 130 years later. The place that was once called the treasure house of the Northern Gate continues to serve as the pantry of Japan.
Well, the early pioneers really seem to have struggled to tame the land.
I know, and I think it's a history that even many Japanese don't really know about.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so make sure you tune in the next time.
Welcome to Tokyo Skytree. This is the grand panoramic view from 450 meters. Here you experience the unforgettable. Look, enjoy, be amazed, and be awestruck. That's what Tokyo Skytree is all about. Japan's latest landmark, Tokyo Skytree.
Traditional,
Consistent.
precise,
Speedy.
professional, innovative,
Polite. Quality from Japan. The best of business in Asia. SMBC. Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation.
For Earth for Life, Kubota.
One day has finished, and one new day has started on somewhere in the world. Kubota supports every moment somewhere out in the world. By the mechanization of agriculture, by the maintenance of water infrastructure, by the latest environmental engineering. We support a prosperous life for humans while protecting the environment of this beautiful Earth. Food, water, and the environment link the world. Kubota.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green solar power systems in Singapore.
Sistem AC ramah lingkungan di Indonesia.
Eco changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
Channel Japan. Your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.